Uh-oh. Uh-oh. 1 minute. Some reason can you hear me? 1 second. Something is off over here. Maybe this. We're not hearing. Do you hear me?
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
1 minute. Technical problems. Can you hear? Okay, good. Because some reason you can't hear.
Can you hear me?
There's no, maybe something wrong with the speakers. Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Take it for granted. Here we go.
Hello?
Wonderful. Maybe my speakers are off or something. We'll figure it out. Okay. So we're learning now the speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. We're finishing it. The speech that was given in 1992 regarding this week's Torah portion, Lech Lecha. And the Rebbe points out that here we're being introduced to Abraham. Abraham is the first Jew. And the reason that Abraham is the first Jew is that he was the first person to really unite the spiritual with the physical. Yeah, my speakers are up, but I just can't seem to turn them on. Oh, 1 second. Maybe they're not off. Maybe they are. Maybe they're, okay. All right, anyway, listen, not important. As long as you can hear, that's the main thing. I'll hear it later.
Okay, after this, sure.
All right, so Abraham was the first person to unite God with the Creator, to tell people that there's a Creator. And everything he did, everything he said, even everything he thought was to do, say, think what the Creator wants in this world. Which most people say, I'll wait till I die, then the world won't be so real, or I'll get out of the world now. I won't be involved in the world. No, not so Abraham. Very interesting. Usually, not always, in most of the religions, a person wants to be religious, a really like a priest or something like that, he has to be not married. Usually, there's exceptions. But that's sort of a big thing, not to be married. In Judaism, not so. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses separated from his wife, it said, because he was constantly receiving messages from God. And maybe that's what these other religions want to copy. But all of these people, they were married, they had children, they were very, unsatisfied if they didn't have children. Here we see Abraham prayed for children, did everything he could to have children. He wanted to have someone to cook. So the whole idea behind it is to be involved in this physical world, but only on God's terms, only on the Creator's terms. And that was the thing of Abraham. He revealed the Creator in the creation. He was the first one. And that opens the door for two big things. The Torah, three things. The Torah, actually four things. The Torah, the land of Israel, physical. These are two physical things. Torah is a book. The land of Israel, even more physical. The Jewish people, which that's signified by this circumcision, that's the covenant. Circumcision is a physical sign made in the physical flesh. But it's true, it's made in a person. And even more physical than that is the land of Israel. That's made in the actual land. And of course, in the middle, we have the Torah, we have the Jewish people, we have the land of Israel. And most important is Moshiach. Moshiach is going to be the one that's going to finish the whole thing. He will complete and make this world eternal, infinite. So you can say, well, what's going to be after that? What's going to be after infinite? What does that mean? Let's do mathematically infinite, right? What comes after infinite, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, infinite. What comes after infinite? Infinite plus 1. There's no such thing. That's just mathematical. Every instant of our lives will be infinitely meaningful, infinitely blessed, which the fact is that's what it is right now. We just don't see it. We don't feel it. So, and we act accordingly. We act in ignorance. And So Abraham was the first one that he brought infinity into the world. He made actions, our deeds. We have the possibility we can make our actions, our deeds, infinite in this world. That's the secret of the raising of the dead, which that I didn't add into my shopping list of accomplishments of Abraham. So Abraham, that's the thing. When God is revealed in the world, so what do we have? We have the eternal Jewish people. We have the eternal Torah. We have the eternal land of Israel. We have the total land of Israel, all 10 lands that God promised to Abraham. Pretty good. We have the Holy Temple. That's also eternal. We'll see it when the third temple will be revealed. That's just a continuation of the tabernacle that was in the desert, Mishkan Hashem. God took it as a mashkon, as a surety. And then the whole world is going to be a different, wonderful, holy, happy place. Everybody will just be amazed by everybody else. Every human being is made in the image of God. Anytime you meet a human being, you're meeting the image of God. That's pretty good. And everybody's different. So you have all these different images of God. God, as it is, God manifests himself in all the atoms and all the molecules and all these planets and nebulae and things like that. So this is already, infinite aspects of godliness being revealed in this world. That's only the physical worlds. The spiritual worlds are also the same thing, but all the spiritual worlds are going to be nothing compared to this physical world. How that's going to be, I have no idea, but it's going to be really good. So, how do we say? We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. Especially if you look at the terrible situation the world is in now, right? This is supposed to be the darkness before the dawn. Yud base al pizah, according to this. Now we can understand the explanation. We did this yesterday. We'll do it again. How Lech Lecha is a preparation before the giving of the Torah. Wait, let me get my fire pointer over here. We came in sin because the serving God. Now, this idea of serving God, I think we said this before, but avodah, the whole idea of avodah, service, avodah really means to change things. It comes from ibud orot. Ibud means like tanning leather. I don't know if you've ever seen it. We've talked about this before, but leather, if you just take leather from a cow, right? You slaughter a cow, you find a dead cow, and you skin the hide. If you just leave it alone, it becomes hard like a rock. That's the nature of leather, hard like a rock. But if you tan it, they have this, so they put it in different chemicals and whatever it is. However they do it, they can make it soft and pliable, and it remains soft and pliable. And with that, you can write a mezuzah on it, and you can make shoes from it and shirts from it and whatever. That's what's called avodah, changing the nature of something so that it becomes usable for what you want. In this case, what God wants. It means changing your nature. That's avodah, changing the nature of the world. Avodah. Serving God means avodah, changing yourself, changing the world, improving things. Tzarich liot, it has to be constant. That's what Abraham added. Lech lecha, go. Go to yourself. In a way of halicha. When you serve God, it has to be always moving. Ad halicha b'shlo be'erech, in a way which is incomparable. What happens when you walk? When you walk, you totally leave the place where you were, and you move to a new place. And then you totally leave that place and you move to another new place. It's not like you leave one foot behind and you just stretch and put the other foot right forward, more and more forward, until you have like the 10, your legs are 10 feet long, 100 feet long. No, your legs remain the same length, but you don't keep one leg back there where it was, and you move one leg and another leg. And there's also what's called running. There's also called jumping. Right? Different types of progress, but progress means you leave the place where you were and you go to a new place. That's Lech Lecha. Abraham left. He gave us that power. Kamudash, like it says Lech Lecha itself. This includes also going till you reach Matan Torah, the Torah. When God gave the Torah, that just began a new world of responsibility and obligation and connections that we can make to the infinite. Move on in so it's understood. Shetamid that constantly there's a necessity avod because of to lech lecha to go further. Kagdama v'hachana as a preparation to reveal what God gave at Mount Sinai back then. Alachas kama v'kama, how much more so? Kimedubar, when it's talking about such a tremendous high revelation of God, shalo be'erich, incomparable to anything that's been before of the geula mitit v'shlema, of the future redemption that we're waiting for. It'll be a totally different world. Right? The future redemption won't be like, just we'll elect this guy instead of that guy. And instead of this policy, there'll be this policy. The whole world, mankind will be different. Hari Mikivan, Shalech Lecha, etc. The Kenya and Eretz Israel, possessing the land of Israel. This is a preparation for, this is a preparation and a beginning from Matan Torah, from the giving of the Torah. Right? Abraham said, God said to Abraham, you're going to get the land of Israel. This was like 400 years before the Jews got the Torah. This depends the completion of the giving of the Torah. What happened? How did it work? God promised Abraham, I'm going to give you the land of Israel. Then he said, and I'm going to give you the Jewish people, Yitzchak. Circumcise yourself, you're going to have Yitzchak. Then after that, 400 years later, God gave the Torah. Then 40 years after that, the Jewish people entered the land of Israel. But they only received 7 lands. God promised Abraham 10 lands. So if so, move and it's understood. Shekol zaman shechaser b'shlemut kinyan oretz. All the time that the Jews do not have the land of Israel in its entirety, kafisha says b'zaman hazeh, like it is now. Kasher ein lanu eser. So we don't have the 10 lands, and we haven't had them, right? No, we never had them. As chaser, so therefore it's lacking the completion of the giving of the Torah. Shlemut kiyam Torah mitzvahs, doing the Torah and the commandments. That's why the land of Israel is called the holy land. It's not just a political place, and it's the how do you say, just the situated in a very strategic and a very economically good place, and etc. In a way, Israel is probably situated in the worst place in the world. We've got all these terrible enemies all around us. Right? It's very small. God could have given us a. They say the joke, which is a pretty stupid joke, but I'll tell you the joke anyway. Stupid for a lot of reasons. That Moses, when he was up on Mount Sinai, so God said, look at the whole world, tell me where you want. I'll give you, the Jewish people, any land you want. So Moses said, I want Canada. But Moses had a speech impediment. So he said, Canaan. God said, you want Canaan? That's the worst place in the world. Okay, if that's what you want, I'll give it to you. It's a stupid joke for a lot of reasons, because first of all, God promised the land of Canaan to Abraham, which was 400 years later. Secondly, when God gave the Torah at Mount Sinai, before Moses went up, everybody got healed. So Moses didn't have a speech impediment when he went up. So it's a pretty dumb joke, but anyway. If really, seriously, if God wanted to give us a nice place, he could give us Canada. Canada is wonderful. They got terrible leaders over there, but Canada is wonderful. Rich in resources, no enemies whatsoever. Huge. The place is huge, right? You can do whatever. There's unexplored parts of Canada over there. But why not? In the land of Israel, terrible, right? Terrible. It's very small, first of all. It can be attacked from all different sides. Why do we have to that? That's God knows what he's doing, right? True, it's very central. Is that everybody wants it? Everybody wants the place, right? They're all fighting to get the place. They say it belongs to them, right? Who wants Canada? But Davgal Yadezeh, even nowadays, even the Canadians don't. Davgal Yadezeh, by means of this, Shetiyah Shlemos, the Lech Lecha Me'artzecha, going from your land to the land that I want. I will show you. Kinyan Eretz Israel, B'Shlemut. Then the land of Israel will be holy and it'll be complete. All 10 lands that God promised Abraham that we've never gotten until now. Then will be the completion of the Torah and its commandments. Like it says, it says, then we will be able to do the Torah in the way that you have the commandments like you want, God. What do you mean? In the future, now we're doing the commandments and we know what to do. We have the Torah, we know what to do. but we don't know how to do it. We don't have real love when we do the commandments. We don't have real awe of God. We don't feel that we're doing God's commandments. We don't. We know it intellectually. Like it will be in the future redemption. And therefore, calls a mention that all the time that we are before this future redemption, and it's supposed to happen any second. Amazing, good change for the better. Azai then, it's relevant, this idea of going, walking, progressing, leaving your land, your desires, your personality to the land that I show you. In other words, we're living now in a false world and we're acting as though that's real. And it's really not real. The fact is, the future redemption, everyone will see, feel, know God, and especially everyone will see, feel, and know how much God loves them. Jew and non-Jew, havdil together. God creates everybody. By Kenyan, by Eretz Yisrael, and this will be a purchase, this will be a possession. The Jews will take possession of the complete land of Israel, all 10 lands. Now, will be a hachana, preparation for the completion of the Torah and the commandments. When God gives a Torah, it says a new Torah will come from me. Like I said before, the Torah will be new, young, fresh. We'll feel the godliness in the Torah. Yeah, somebody wrote about California. No, I don't. Even California will be fixed up, huh? That's very funny. They say the joke that America is at a slant and everything that's loose rolls down to California. Okay, but in the future, even California will be fixed up. All mankind will be different. It'll be a new Torah. In addition to what it says in the giving of the Torah, we say every day that it has to be brand new in our eyes. But then we'll really feel the godliness of the Torah. People won't be able to twist and distort the Torah anymore, make up their own explanations and believe in people and things like this. The answer is like this. Matim gam lefi penimus inyanim. This is relevant to the inner ideas, the soul. Let's get to the soul now. Kivush seva artzot, the conquering of the 7 lands that was done by Joshua when he went in the land of Israel. Alabo took him 14 years, 7 years to conquer and 7 years to divide up. This refers to moral, conquering your 7 emotions. The 3 lands that we're going to get, Cani and the Kenizi and the Kadmoni, that refers to the service of serving God with your 3 aspects of intellect. Now, those of you that don't know what we're talking about over here, there is what's called the 10 sfirot. There's 10 facets of godliness, and God used these 10 facets also to we also have 10 facets of our personality. That's another one of the meanings, that we're created in God's image. And these 10 facets of personality, this is written about. You can look in the Tanya, the book of Tanya, in the 3rd chapter. You can look it up online. It's translated in English also. Okay, because we're talking about God's aspects of God, so as understandably, this is a little bit sort of, what do you call it, esoteric. It can't be taken at face value. We're not like talking about, car engines or something. So Chochmah Bina V'das. B'zman hazeh, nowadays, Nitnul Yisrael was given to the Jewish people only 7 lands. Mishum, because now the main service of God is refining our emotions. The service of refining 3 aspects of intellect are mainly kedei lipol alamidos, to affect our emotions. It's a commandment to love God, for instance, in the Torah. It's a commandment to fear God. It's a commandment. In order to fear God and to love God, you have to have some comprehension of what God is, and you have to have some realization of how real God is. Because if I say, there's dragons outside, so you're not going to be afraid, because there's no such thing as dragons. No matter how much I explain to you that dragons shoot fire and that they burn all cities and that this, but it's not true. So you're not going to be afraid unless you're, a paranoid person anyway. But if you're really convinced that there really is such a thing, let's take the example, as dragons, And it says on the news all the time, like with the corona and stuff like that, it's real and it's approaching, it's going to be here any second. You got to put on a mask, you got to stay in your house, you got to be afraid. Better not pout, you better not cry. Right? All these things are real, then all of a sudden it affects your emotions. If you realize it's real, the same the other way around. You get a check for $100,000, but it doesn't have your name on it. So as soon as you realize it has your name on it, and as soon as you realize what a check is, and as soon as you know intellectually, then you get excited. The same way it is with God. Those were just examples. You want to fear God, you want to love God, you have to first of all understand what there is you're supposed to fear, and to feel that God is really real. And then that affects your emotions, which is not an easy thing to do. That's why the Hasidim, they put a big emphasis on prayer, especially in the Chabad. When the big, the goals of Hasidut Chabad is to pray properly, to pray to God properly in an emotional way, to take 5 minutes on every word, to think of the depth and the meaning of it. That's now. We learn about God in order to serve God with love and fear. But Avalati love in the future, Kasher Kolo, and the whole thing of serving God will be complete. Then the ultimate completion, then the service of God will be the main thing, intellect. Avoda v'atzmo, the serving God with your mind will be a main thing. To unify with God by means of unifying your intellect with the Torah, and by means of this, with the Torah is the wisdom of God, and by means of this, because the Torah is one with God, will be revealed the fact, the godliness in the Torah. And so intellect will be a main thing, to realize the greatness of God, to understand the greatness of God. Nowadays, it says the world will be filled with the knowledge of God. That's what the Maimonides says. Brings from Isaiah. All right. Okay. If you want, whatever you say, let's go. By means of this will be revealed that the Jews and the Torah are completely one. And then the Jewish people will have higher realization of what God is. I don't know, maybe you could take an example. Let's take an example, a person with his children. I mean, that's why there's no love that you can find like the love of parents to their children, and conversely, children to their parents, even though the love of parents to their children is greater than the love of children to parents. That's what it says. Anyway, then there's no love of that. Okay, so a father loves his children. He loves his children. How much does he love them? Emotionally loves. There's a limit to how much emotional you can get to loving your children, to having a good friend, a husband and a wife. That type of love can be emotional, yes, but it's even more. It can be, it can be with awareness. Professor Viktor Frankl talks about this a lot. True love. For instance, he gives an example. For instance, parents, God forbid that one of these two, the lover and the beloved, is sick, has Alzheimer's. The whole personality is gone. But nevertheless, there's still love. Nevertheless, there's people, I know people, that their children or whatever, they have love for their children, they have love for the parents, even though the child is, very severely impaired, their personality is gone, they get no return whatsoever from the child. Just the fact that it's my child wakes up something. Of course, Freudian psychiatrists and all these other, cruel, wokeists and these people, all these, basically almost all the psychiatry and all this, they'll say, it's just, because of hang-ups, it's because of guilt complexes, because of this. You can say whatever you want to. You can minimize and reduce anything you want to, but the fact of the matter is there's such a thing as true love. And this true love is above emotional. It's above emotional. It's an intellectual connection, an awareness of the mind to the one soul to another soul. Oh, that's better. To a soul connection. above any sort of personality things in. So that's what it'll be. Our soul will be connected to the soul of God. The more awareness we have of God, the deeper will be the love. The preparation for this will be, began with Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha, to the land that I show you. Giving of the land of Israel, all the 10 lands. This includes the completion of service of God. Gam et Shlemos, all the completion of the giving of the Torah. In addition to the fact that there'll be the awareness of God, the consciousness of God in the Torah, and compared to the emotions, the revelation, it says, of the 49 gates of understanding, which are given in this world, like it was at Mount Sinai the first time. It says that God revealed his essence at Mount Sinai. There'll also be the revelation of what's called Chachma Bin Das of God, the revelation of what's called the 50th gate of understanding, pure godliness, until Shu Naila Shalom Be'erich, it'll be higher than all these 49 gates. There'll be a new Torah, a true redemption and a complete redemption of humanity from all ignorance. And we'll know who we really are. We'll feel how much God really loves us. Infinite, above any understanding. And together with this tremendous revelation, listen, just think about it. We'll understand more what God is. So God's love for us is infinite. How can we repay it? How can we repay infinite love? Well, we're only finite. So this is by doing the commandments, but the commandments are also finite. So it means that when we do the commandments, which are finite, and we feel that these commandments are coming from the infinite God, so we'll do them in a totally different way. That way is called happiness, above understanding. Above, makes you want to burst out in song and dance with your feet, things that you don't understand. You can't explain it. It's higher than an explanation. Yom Shechatavar, this will be drawn down also into this physical, the whole entire physical world, until in this physical, low physical world, like it's hinted at, the letters of the Kuf, this letter of Kuf, Kani, Kenizi, and Kadmoni, that come down from Mina Shur, that come down below into the world. Kuf usually is number 100, refers to Keter of God, the crown of God, number 100, completion. When we say Kani, Kenizi, or Kadmoni 3 times, that's a way a chazaka. That means it's something that happens 3 times. It's like it's sure, it's certain. Then the world will be filled with the knowledge of God, like water fills the world, right? Like nowadays, people think about money, and then they're afraid of whatever it is, the global warming, whatever was what things they're trying to put us to be afraid. Then people will be thinking about God, the source of all money, and they'll be afraid to be separate from God. They'll be afraid to do anything, say anything against what God wants. They'll feel it. That's the idea of the world will be filled with knowledge of God, like my water fills the ocean. Ocean, Yam, is the numerical value of 50. This corresponds to the 50th gate of understanding. God gave the Torah to the Jewish people after we counted 49 days of Sfirat Omer. He gave it on the 50th, but the 50th gate was not revealed. It said Moses was even lacked this 50th gate. He was lacking a little bit. And that was the 50th gate. He said when Moses died, he received the 50th gate. Then he went up the Har Navo, the Nunbo. He got up the 50th gate. Hamor, this indicates on, it says, the world will fill with water. Water is mayim, is plural. This shows on Rishuta Rabim. It doesn't say may, water, mayim. This shows on the water, the many desires and the many, how do you say, so to speak, realities of this world. Armul de Pruda. Everything will be covered there'll be revelation of God that Eino Ella will see that the revelation of God will show that the world is only concealing God. And what will we see? We'll see the water, the ocean of Torah, the 50th gate that was given on Mount Sinai. This is water that has no end to them, above any limitations whatsoever. Okay, the Rebbe is trying to explain to us. Now we have to understand what's going on over here. It's something like Moshiach. What is Moshiach? Moshiach is going to be a person totally different than any other person that ever lived. Totally different. He's going to be a person that's going to show us that every single human being in the world is going to feel the godliness in every single human being in the world, and also in everything in the world. And especially in the Torah, especially in the land of Israel. One person is going to accomplish this. Just like Moses, one person took the Jews out of Egypt and received the Torah. No one ever dreamed this would happen. No one ever dreamed that God himself would reveal himself on Mount Sinai. Even nowadays, right, people have trouble digesting this, especially Jews. It never happened. It was only made up by the rabbis are tricking us. No one dreamed that Moses would do it. Well, Mashiach is going to do it, but infinitely more so. It'll be a greater revelation and greater miracle and a greater surprise than leaving Egypt. And leaving Egypt is something that no other religion or nation or whatever has even dared to say happened to them, right? To claim that they had the similar experience, right? No such thing. Giving the Torah, going out of Egypt, who even makes up such a story? But in Judaism is based on that story. And that is only a preparation. It's just a little pre-surprise to the infinitely greater surprise that's going to be in the future redemption. It's going to happen. I mean, God did take us out of Egypt. He gave us the Torah, all right? That really did happen. We still have not accustomed ourselves to that surprise. The surprise of this is going to be even greater. One of the teachings that we can learn from this is the call that each and every Jew has an obligation to go further in learning the Torah. La fashala, to increase learning Torah, to understand every sentence of the Torah, to compare ideas in the Torah. Even if a Jew learned already a lot of Torah, to me it's always relevant to add on learning Torah until in a way of renewing in the Torah, and that the Torah is without limit. It is arucha mi'eretz mida v'rachava miniyom. It says the Torah is unlimited. In Job, it says in the book of Job. So the Torah is immeasurable, greater than the sea, greater than the heavens, whatever. And even more, the Torah is the wisdom of God. So if so, everything in the Torah itself gives us the power to give birth to new ideas without any end. That's the whole look in the Talmud. Look at see these amazing arguments that they have, and each one of those people, almost all of them, had the power to raise the dead. And what were they interested in? Torah. In this itself, it's possible many ways, going with and increasing in the Torah in an understandable way. And in this, there's a lot of ways. And then there's Lech Lecha that I show you. This is going, Shatiya lo stam alicha. This is not just going and moving from one place to another, but a true going. Shu davka shelo berach. It's not that you move from one place to another. You become a different person. Sheyotzi legamri mitzavov v'regilaso hakodmim. Did you go totally out of your previous ideas? And nowadays they have this big thing about coaching. I remember once I went to Barnes and Noble years ago, and this thing of self-improvement, they had there was more, it was a bigger section than any of the other sections. People know that the way they are is not good. In this case, they're talking about making money out of this, but nevertheless, people know that they have to change. They sense they have to think. They don't know what direction they have to change to. They don't know what. Now people are going just berserk. They know they have to change. So let's make a sex change. Like women's will call men's bathrooms. We'll call women's bathrooms. We'll call women. But they don't know what's up and what's down, right? Maybe death is good, life is bad. right? But abortions are fine. God is our enemy. The world is our friend. Everything is all completely mixed up. Afilu regulis to kedusha. Well, a person has to leave his how do you say, his custom, his nature, his habit, even holy habits that he has, including the novelties all the movement that he did before, his changing his thoughts from what it was before. A person can reach the land, like it said to Abraham, the land that I show you. That's what it means. Lech lecha, God said, go to your true self. We're not saying go up and sit up on a mountain and ignore the world. We're saying don't be like everybody else. Yes, be a true human being. Be productive. Be like what you're supposed to be. Be a human. Be human. And every person is made in the image of God. All of your abilities, all of your powers, your hidden powers. Similarly, all of the powers themselves, not just revealing the 7 emotions and the intellect which is relevant to them, but the intellect itself. You'll have an awareness, just like now you're aware of yourself. In the future, your main awareness will be of your creator. And yourself will be a miracle. You'll see, wow, I'm being created by God. This is amazing. And this will be expressed, the idea of lech lecha me'artzecha. The service of man. Oh, it's a little bit longer than I thought. Okay, here we go. The service of man in a normal way will be using your regular powers. There's no novelty. That these are powers which a person has, and he just didn't, and he knew that they existed, like in these self-help and these coaching things like this. So therefore, it's understood that you can use them in their complete way. Be a faster runner, be a better piano player. You develop your power of music, whatever. Similarly, concealed powers that people have, but they're concealed in a way that really I didn't know I had such a good sense of music. I didn't know I had such a good sense of writing. This is no novelty. The big novelty is when you reveal the powers that you have inside of yourself, which are concealed, that no one knew that they existed. You never dreamed, like I said, they say that a person uses what it is, only 1% or 5% of his brain. Well, people don't use any percent of their soul. Only once in a while they love their parents, they do something brave, there's something courageous. Very, very rare. Soul powers we didn't even know that existed. Mitpalim. I'm saying. Mitpalim. A person is amazed. Where did he get such powers? When he uses these powers for Torah, so that brings him to the land, the true land. Which once in a while they always have these things about the grandmother. She's 98 years old, and a car happened to be on a jack, and it fell on her grandson or something, and she runs outside and lifts the car up. Right? She herself weighs 90 pounds, and the car weighs like 2,000 pounds, and she lifts it up because she had new powers. Well, those are powers that she had. People are strong, right? They have a certain power. Usually she could only lift up 5 pounds, and now she can lift up. Here we're talking about new soul powers of understanding, revelation, what God is, that we didn't know that there even existed such things. Just like this will be learning regarding learning the Torah, so also will be in servicing, in standing a lot of pupils up. Kolel, including lahakil kihilos b'Shabbos, to gather groups on Shabbos and to learn, teach Torah. That this has to be in a way of walking, increasing all the time, never to be satisfied with what you have. Kolomar, in other words, in addition to the fact that you always have to add on in, excuse me, in the number of pupils that you have, people that you have a positive effect on, and never to be satisfied with what you did up to now, even if you already had a lot of pupils, you have 1,000 pupils, 10,000, 20,000, but all the time that there is a possibility to reach another Jew, and it doesn't make any difference what the persuasion of that Jew is, or all the different types of Jews, that they should add on to another course in Torah, so you have to do this. Obvious. Ubafrat, and especially that you always have to add on more bar mitzvahs, banus mitzvahs, chadashim, right? There's more and more Jews that are becoming 13, 12, girls that are becoming 12, that it's possible to have an effect on them and teach them more Torah. Similarly, that not just the quantity of learning, but also the quality, a deeper understanding and more depth, until learning in a whole totally new way. To bring that the pupil should be what's called Talmid Vatik, even a well-known, seasoned pupil should get new ideas in the Torah. Hari Gamzeh, this is also a novelty, new. Shari, I'll call Echad, every person has the obligation to increase in the Torah all the time. A true going, true moving, true progress is when the chidush shel Talmid, when the new ideas that the pupil sees in the Torah comes from his own hidden powers that he didn't even know that they existed. As kamuvan, that she'evan abochen, that what is the test of all these? How do you know if you're really making progress, if you're really doing it in a true way? Is is you have to ask other people. You have to ask other people. You have to have other people, how do you say, give a feedback? Because a person himself can get how do you say, occupied in other things, or maybe everybody loves themselves. So it could be that you make a little bit of a mistake. But another person, you have to ask other people, have a friend, have a rabbi, have an advisor. Ask other people, what do you think? Let's talk about this together. That's why we make Verbringens. All this, there is a new, in our generation, there's something brand new. What's brand new in our generation? Like we said before, our generation, especially, this is the last generation of exile. And the first generation of the redemption is found at Gasha Yetira, Ba'avoda, the Lech Lecha Me'artzecha, our generation, which is the first generation. Some people are living, and you take your choice. Some people say this is the last generation of exile, which that's okay. And some people say, no, what are you talking about? We're beginning the redemption. However it is, the fact of the matter is big changes are coming. So therefore, there's a special emphasis on leaving your land to the land that I show you, leaving your wills to a new will, a new awareness. This is taking possession of all of the 10 lands that God promised to Abraham. So it's understood that this has to be reflected, first of all, in the service of a Jew. We have to be more devoted and more happy in our service of God, learning Torah, that he adds on learning the Torah, not just with his chachma and bina das that's relevant to the emotions, but also to think a little bit more, be aware of God above any emotions. Like parents love their children above any emotions. This is especially by means that he adds on learning the inside of the Torah, including learning things which are only relevant to intellect, Chassidut, including learning about things about Moshiach and the future redemption. May it be God's will that by means of adding and lech lecha, moving from one level to the other, that we'll get used to not being satisfied with who we are, and to be more expecting big surprises from God. That'll take us in a totally different awareness of what life and reality is. By means of this, by us doing our little part, there will be fulfilled immediately what it says, Lech lecha me'artzecha, namely what? The Mashiach will gather all of the Jews from the four corners of the world. They'll all go to the land that I show you. The Arko L'Rachba, it says to the length and to the width. Abraham, it says you have also Yaakov, including the land of the Cani and the Kenizi and the Kadmoni. This says, how are we going to get them? Says the Rebbe, We'll get them in a way of peace from the nations. The nations will be glad to give them to us. It's like now it is in the elections, the Arabs, they lost race because the Palestinians, that are so-called Palestinians, there's really no such thing, but the Israeli government calls them Palestinians. That's why there's Palestinians. They realize that their governments, their leaders are terrible. They don't care about their people. The Rebbe said it a lot of times. The leaders of the Arab nations in general do not care about their people. Now we see it everywhere, right? We see the leaders of America, of Canada, all these places, they don't care about Australia. They don't care about their people. They don't care about the people. But especially the Arab nations, the leaders don't care about the people. The people live in abject poverty. And the leaders lived in luxury, and they're just thinking about making war all the time. They will gladly go under the rule of Israel, right? These people that they're called the Palestinians, they don't want this war. They don't want more. They don't want trouble, right? They're afraid of their leaders, and the Israelis don't protect them. With this, so the nations, they'll gladly give us these three lands. And together with this, there will also be the completion of all of the 10 powers of our soul, the 7 emotions and the 3 powers of intellect together. And the main thing is, a new Torah will be revealed from me. We'll feel the godliness of the Torah, of every word, of every commandment. In such it'll spread out in the whole world. The whole world will be filled with the knowledge of God like water fills the ocean. Waters fill the ocean. Also the non-Jews, the world, it's like the Rambam says, the whole world will only be interested in knowing God, trusting God, believing in God, rejoicing with God, doing what God wants, saying what God wants, thinking what God wants. The whole world will be interested in this. And with God will be the I mean, you can imagine, let's say you could make everyone in the world a genius in music and a genius in mathematics and a genius. Well, God is infinitely more harmonious. And God is infinitely more, the true than any mathematics you can possibly find. And the whole world will be aware of this. Similarly, in every part of the world, even the mineral, the plant, the animal, will be revealed a new power of the Creator in the creation. Until it says that even Evan Mikir Yizat Tizak, even the it's a sentence in Habakkuk, prophet Habakkuk, says that even the stones from the walls will yell out. And so also it says that that's mineral. Also it says that the figs will speak. It says that's the plant. And similarly the animals, that'll be like Noah's Ark. And how much more so people. It says Yodea called Paul, this is from the prayers of Rosh Hashanah. We say all the creations will know you created them. All formations will know you formed them. Everything that has a soul in its nostrils will say that the God of Israel is the creator of the universe and he rules over everything. That's what we say in our prayers. Shakal Olam, that the whole world will become a dwelling place for God. And also all the world's the spiritual worlds, there will be a revelation of the world of Atzilut. From Etzlo V'Samach, God will be revealed everywhere. From Lech Lecha, we can come immediately to Vayera Hashem, next week's Torah portion. God appeared to him. We will see godliness. We'll see godliness, complete redemption, that your eyes will see your teacher. It's a sentence in Isaiah. Souls and bodies, the ultimate brios with complete health. And the main thing, it'll occur immediately. So all this has to come immediately. The Rebbe is trying to drive us crazy and succeeding in a big way, that we cannot be satisfied with the world that is. We have to keep improving and expecting big changes from God. Let's do Hayom Yom. Here we go. The Alter Rebbe used to say Atzilut, that's a world of pure godliness. He used to say Eben, above, because he had such emotion. He was so intense, because when he would speak about it, he would really feel it. When he would write the word Atzilut, he could only write Aleph Tzadik, first two, Aleph Tzadik Yud, and then he would put a little dash because he would get so, how do you say, overcome with the consciousness and awareness of God. Let us go to tomorrow. Is this right? Yes. All right. All right. This is the things that are only relevant to people who know the books of Chabad. Torah. Okay. Changing things in the maybe mistakes that fell in the printing of the book Torah, or he corrects it. Have a good day. Have a good Shabbos with Moshiach now. God willing, this is the Motzi Shabbat will be Kiddush Levana, the sanctifying of the moon, where the Jewish people should be renewed and the whole world should be renewed and blessed with the coming of the Mashiach now. Have a good day. Thank you very much. See you on Sunday, 8:15 your time. Shabbat Shalom. Okay. Pinchas, did I admit you, Pinchas? Okay. Anyway.